Alex Orji is expected to be named the starting quarterback at Michigan. And did Urban Meyer say the Buckeyes' schedule is a joke? Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, coming up on 40 years as a sports talk show host and a play-by-play announcer. And I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, plus on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Ultimate College Football Head Coach is a brand new mobile game that is completely free, no ads, 100% playable offline. Use the promo code LOCKEDONCFB, all caps, inside your game store to receive a free boost to your program. Begin your coaching legacy today. All right, so we have an expected starter at Michigan. We'll see if this comes through here this week. Plus, what did Urban really say about the Buckeyes schedule? We'll get to that, plus our Big Ten Top 10 observations from the weekend. But it's not official. But it looks like Alex Orji is going to be the starting quarterback at Michigan this season. It's not official because first-year head coach Sherrone Moore hasn't named a starter yet. But according to numerous sources, Orji has been taking the majority of the first-team snaps in practice, and he is the expected starter, according to ESPN's Pete Thamel. But 4 days ago, I will also tell you that the Big Ten Network reported that grad senior Jack Tuttle, who had been making some strides here in the offseason, has been working through an injury and therefore would not be the starter at the beginning of the season, if at all. We'll see. There are a couple of things to note here. First of all, Orji, who came in during special but very meaningful situations behind J.J. McCarthy last season, has only completed one pass in his entire college career. And that wasn't even last year. To go back to 2022, he completed a 5-yarder. That's it. That's a concern. That's a concern. But Orji's a powerful runner. He's built like a linebacker who plays quarterback. He'll knock some people over this year. Plus, remember, Sherrone Moore, he likes to run the football a lot. And, I mean, anybody see the Penn State game last year when he was in charge? What was it, 32 straight runs? Not even passing the ball in the second half. Sherrone Moore loves that. So you can absolutely expect to see a lot of designed running plays where Orji, the quarterback, is the designed runner and the first option on any given play. That's certainly an element you would not have seen the last couple of years with J.J. McCarthy, who would have got hurt. Now, he's just not built the same way. If Tuttle gets healthy, though, perhaps he'll be integrated as well. He's a better passer and has a lot more experience because he's in his 7th year of college football now. And some have asked, if he's so good, then why hasn't Tuttle been a starter for most of his career other than some spot starts at Indiana before he came to Michigan? Well, it's a fair question. But I've repeatedly pointed out here on this podcast that, he backed up future top 10 NFL quarterbacks and Michael Penix Jr. and J.J. McCarthy. So this is one of the reasons he came back. It's his turn to shine if he can get the starting job. The quarterback that has most intrigued me is redshirt junior Davis Warren. I've talked about it here on this podcast as well. Now, his passing numbers aren't that much more prolific than Orji's. He's only completed 5 of his 14 college passes for 89 yards. Again, it's not much more than Orji's 1 pass completion. And by the way, that could be a concern that your top quarterbacks have no experience throwing the ball. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see as soon as this Saturday against Fresno State. But he definitely passed the eyeball tests. I'm talking about Warren during the spring game this year. And I certainly liked what I saw there. A lot of other people did too. Seems like a case of him being a late bloomer, right? It was like, all right, he's been there, been working out, going through the system each and every year. Now he's a little older, a little age. He's starting to get it. My main concern here is if Michigan bounces around from quarterback to quarterback, I don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, Alex Orji plays a much different style than, say, Jack Tuttle or Davis Warren. If they all get used at some point, does that hinder the offense's momentum? Or will they be able to handle such transitions and and be able to continue the flow. That's something to watch for, I think, this year. Or is Sherrone Moore just going to stick with Orji as the main quarterback throughout most of the year? Only Sherrone Moore knows, truly. And he does know. All right, we're still trying to figure out, but he knows. He knows. He's been slow to announce the official starter, and I think it's because, frankly, he's having a little bit of fun with it. He's having a little fun with the announcement, right? You dream of being a head coach your whole life. Now you're getting all the questions with the media, getting a little bit of attention. We'll make them wait. Make them wait a little bit. His first year at the helm, why not? Making these big boy decisions now and making the big boy announcements to the media. And he's in the center of the college football world. He's loving it. Absolutely loving it. So Michigan does open up Saturday night at 7:30 Eastern versus Fresno State on a nationally televised game on ESPN, or on NBC, rather. And it's part of that NBC Saturday night package. Now, if you have been a regular or an everydayer here on Locked On Big Ten, you know that since we took over this channel last year, that we like to go live during football season right after big games on this YouTube channel. No matter how you catch the podcast, whether it's audio or video, you got to go to YouTube, the YouTube channel. We do the live broadcasts right there, right after the games. Many of you enjoy those. And we're going to do the same again this year. And we'll start our first one right after the Fresno State Michigan game on Saturday night. Now, being a 7:30 kickoff, I presume that means a late night for us. And for you, as you're laying in bed, scrolling through at the end of the night, we'll be there for you. I'm guessing that'll be probably about 11-ish Eastern time. And we'll not only focus on what we just saw Michigan and presumably Alex Orji do, but we'll also run down the whole slate of all the games throughout the Big Ten throughout the day on Saturday. By the way, programming note, we've got Big Ten football this week. It's game week. Thursday and Friday night this week. And then the full slate on Saturday as well. It's here. We finally made it. All right. So anyway, that's always a blast when we go live on Saturdays. Hope you'll be able to join us for that. Make a note of it. One other note about Michigan. The Netflix Untold series titled Sign Stealer, featuring Michigan SpyGate master Connor Stalions. We've been talking about it coming. It's this week. It's tomorrow. It's Tuesday, August 27th. So, and just as we say that, the NCAA levied a notice of allegations against Michigan and former coach Jim Harbaugh for BurgerGate at the beginning of August. Well, another NCAA notice of allegations just came down against Michigan for SpyGate. So it's all coming together. The latest notice accuses 7 Michigan staffers of being involved in the sign stealing scandal. And this could affect Sherrone Moore, who's accused of deleting a chain of 52 messages with Connor Stalions. This could be a sticky situation for Sherrone Moore because due to BurgerGate, in which he was suspended 1 game at the same time that Harbaugh was suspended 3 games, you'll remember, he gets nailed for this. He could be a multi-time offender in the eyes of the NCAA, and I'm not sure what they'll try and do to him at that point, but he could be facing some sort of suspension there as well. Michigan fans love to hear from you on all this. More so about the upcoming season coming up and Alex Orji as the starting quarterback, if that's how it does play out. We'd love to hear your opinion. Many ways for you to hit us up. Don't forget at Twitter, Talk Big Ten, number 10, our YouTube comments as well. And don't forget our website, talkbig10number10.com, where you can actually hit me up with an email there if you want. Be sure to subscribe and share. That's what we're asking. We always ask you to subscribe, and it's been growing like gangbusters. But subscribe and share. Share it with a friend that you think that you know likes Big Ten stuff. Maybe they're alum, but they don't know that we're out here every single day with Locked On Big Ten. We would really appreciate that. So subscribe and share and follow Locked On Big Ten wherever you get your podcast. That way you get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every day. And don't forget to pick up some Michigan swag before the season at our website, talkbig10.com. All right, so did Urban Meyer call Ohio State's schedule a joke? What do you really say? And did Desmond Howard pick the next Buckeyes football coach? This is crazy. This is what it's all about. We'll take care of that here in a minute on Locked On Big Ten. This is awesome. If you want to have some real fun with this ultimate football, Ultimate football head coach of college football. It's the ultimate college football head coach. Ultimate college football HC. All right. It's an amazing game. It's a simulation. You step into the shoes of a head coach and lead your favorite college program to victories, to glory, anything that you behind the scenes. It's not just calling plays during games. It's recruiting, it's stuff, it's managing, it's hiring your staff, do all this stuff. If you've always dreamed of being a head coach, here's your chance to actually do it. Recruiting players, handling scholarships, all that stuff. It's what you really love about the games, the behind the scenes stuff. Ultimate College Football HC, completely free. No ads, 100% playable offline, and you can play on the go whenever you want to. And of course, we have a special offer for Locked On Big Ten listeners and fans. Use the promo code Locked On CFB. Locked On CFB. All caps, by the way, inside the game store, and receive a free boost to your program. Make sure to take advantage of this perk, as it'll get your team off to a strong start. Download the game. Just go to ultimate-cfb.com, ultimate-cfb.com, or look it up in the app stores. Ultimate College Football HC. Begin your coaching legacy today. All right, so I want to tell you, first of all, thank you for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Meanwhile, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, subscribe and share, and follow and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. And don't forget, since college football is back, the Locked On College Football podcast, previewing all the leagues, everything going on. We got a 4-part series that covers each of the 4 major conferences. Discussion on the ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12, the SEC. Sorry, we don't have a Pac-12 anymore because it doesn't exist. But we have other options for you. We talk about and who has the best shot of making these expanded college football playoffs. I hosted the one for the Big 10 and all my Big 10 friends at the various Locked On schools. So check that out. It's on our channel here if you want to go find it. So check out the special Locked On College. It's also on the 24/7 YouTube channel or the Amazon Fire TV channel, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, so what did Urban Meyer really say about the Buckeyes 2024 college football schedule? First of all, he correctly continues to point out how ridiculously loaded the Buckeyes roster is. But then he went on to say, their schedule is kind of a joke early on, quote unquote. Not making that up, not adding to it. That's what he said. Their schedule's kind of a joke early on. He noted how they're 50-point favorites in the first 3 games: Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall. Then a bye week. Then Michigan State, where he said, well, they're just a shell of their former self there. By the way, how many of you remember all the rumors about Urban going to Michigan State on the heels of the Mel Tucker scandal last year? I do. I remember. That was a thing for a minute. But I think he makes just as much money sitting on the sidelines on Saturdays and not having to deal with everything else. So that's why that never materialized. Look, Meyer also expects, this is an interesting point, that the Buckeyes starters are just going to average 30 to 40 plays per game for the first month of the season. They'll be well rested, well taken care of, because they're not going to need them in the second half of these games. Other players will get to play, working on depth. Starters will be more rested. That's a pretty good point. And they're like too deep at every position anyway, with really high quality players. So as we mentioned, the expected 50-point blowouts early in the season, the Buckeyes are also heavily favored against some of the more respected opponents on their schedule as well. They're double-digit faves with a 24-point spread against Iowa right now, 25.5-point favorites against Nebraska, and they're currently 10-point favorites against the team up north for the game in November. Urban Meyer and I completely agree about Ohio State and Kansas State transfer quarterback Will Howard. And, my whole contention is that he's only a 59% passer his entire career, and that won't be good enough at Ohio State. I think it's a concern for Urban Meyer, too. He says that's the big question mark for Ohio State, Will Howard. What level does he get to as a starting quarterback. Everybody else is loaded on that roster, but the quarterback makes it go. Is he going to be able to raise his performance up? Now, he did immediately say that there's some good news here because Howard is in the best situation he could possibly be. Not only are his teammates just loaded with talent, he's got Chip Kelly as offensive coordinator. And in fact, Urban Meyer said, yeah, he and Chip Kelly, those guys, those two are married to each other right now. And that definitely will help Howard, having a guy like Chip Kelly run the offense. Did you notice that somebody else is also impressed with Chip Kelly? And that includes former wide receiver at Michigan and Heisman Trophy winner and ESPN announcer Desmond Howard. Now, despite Ryan Day's 56-8 record at Ohio State, Howard seemed to take a little delight in the fact that no matter what the Buckeyes record is this year, if they don't beat Michigan for the fourth straight season, that a change could be in the works in Columbus. And you have Desmond Howard. He's got a solution for you. He says, hey, Chip Kelly, right there in the building with tons of head coaching experience at UCLA and Oregon and a couple of NFL spots. You could jump right into that driver's seat should anything happen today and be the head coach. That's Desmond Howard, not me. I've always backed Ryan Day. No matter what happens in the Michigan game, he's just won too many games. Can't get rid of that. And by the way, here's the other part. Chip Kelly just took a pay cut to leave as a head coach already at UCLA. Didn't want to deal with all the mess. And there's not nearly as much pressure at UCLA as there is at Ohio State. Well, Chip Kelly didn't want to be the head coach or replace Ryan Day. That wasn't why he made this move. He made this move so he could just have a little peace and quiet and solitude and just concentrate on running an offense and just coaching. Not dealing with name, image, and likeness and recruiting and all that stuff that goes with that. He's happy, I think, right now. Anyway, Desmond Howard, that's what he said here this weekend. I know I'll hear from you with the comments, Buckeye fans. Go ahead and hit us up on YouTube or on Twitter as well. I know a lot of it. He's just poking the bear. It's week 1. Actually, it was week 0. He's just poking the bear, getting ready for the rivalry. So anyway, let me know what you think about all of that for sure. All right. Coming up, if you're new to the podcast, on Mondays, we always do our Big Ten Top 10 observations. Well, when we get into the season, they're all stats and performances and amazing plays. Sometimes in the offseason, we throw in a few fun things as well. So we will do that. Our Big Ten Top 10 coming up next right here on Locked On Big Ten. Five-hour energy. I kind of sound like I'm on it right now. I've had it, right? I have had it. I think 5-hour energy is I've had some times where I've had to drive long distances late at night when you can get a little bleary-eyed and tired. Do a 5-hour energy and you're good to go. Maybe your situation, you get through lunch and that lunch is sitting there and you're just kind of sluggish throughout the day. 5-hour energy. Perk you right up to finish your work day. Maybe you got a long list of things to do. Get that energy. Maybe after work, then you got to go work out, but nobody feels like working out after work. You're tired. 5-hour energy. Give you the boost and you'll be good to go. Get right to the gym. You can do it before your favorite sporting event. Get really psyched up. Get charged. 5-hour energy. By the way, do you know 0 sugar in 5-hour energy? Very portable size. 5-hour energy. They have a website there with a bunch of flavors like watermelon, tropical burst, grape, berry, and more. There's a flavor for everyone. You can try them all. You can even create on the website your own 12-pack or 24-pack and mix and match flavors. It's fantastic. So go to 5-hour energy. That starts with the number 5, 5hourenergy.com. And again, that's with the number 5, 5hourenergy.com, and get some 5-hour energy product today. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONCFB, LOCKEDONCFB, when you order and receive 20% off of that order. This offer is only valid until September 30th. And on one order, cannot be used with other promotions. So try it out right away. The code is not good on other subscription orders. So do it. Go to 5hourenergy.com. Again, that's with the number 5, 5hourenergy.com. Go there today. All right, let's do our Big Ten top 10 observations from the weekend. I'm gonna put them on screen. If you're audio only, you'll be. I'll help you follow along. It's gonna be really easy today. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Some are Big Ten oriented. Others are just some observations I had over the weekend before we start the season. So, the first one I put up here, Big Ten top 10 observations from the weekend. Magic Johnson, former Michigan State player. All right, that's a Big Ten. Interesting comment. I don't know if you followed it over the past couple of weeks, but Anthony Edwards, younger, great basketball player in the NBA. He said back in the day, nobody other than Michael Jordan had any skill. And then he went on to admit he never really watched basketball. He was too young back then, didn't see all the other players. Oh, I don't know, like Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas and Larry Bird and all that. Probably the greatest heyday of the NBA that they've ever seen. Anthony Edwards says, yeah, they didn't have any skill players. So Magic Johnson was asked about it. He goes, why would I respond to somebody that's never won anything? Why would I respond to a guy that's never won a title? Anyway, and I'm sure Magic said it with a smile. Bob Knight Way. So if you're familiar with Bloomington, right in front of Assembly Hall is 17th Street. And there is a proposal out there to rename that portion of 17th between Dunn and Fee Lane. I used to live off of Fee Lane, by the way, back in the day. They're going to call it Bob Knight Way if this goes through. That would be pretty cool. That would be the first thing on campus named after Bob Knight, by the way. Here is number 8, former Wisconsin running back Braylon Allen. I wanted to mention this. He's been doing pretty well at Jets camp, and he's really gotten pretty good at pass blocking, which is key in the NFL. If you're a running back, you want to get on the field and play, and he will make his NFL debut Monday Night Football, Jets and 49ers, next Monday night. So check that out, Badgers fan. Nebraska is a sleeping giant at number 7. Kirk Herbstreit said that. I said that on this podcast 1 month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago. I have nothing but respect for Herbie. I think he's one of the best analysts. But no, he's on it. We're all on Nebraska. Big expectations this year for Nebraska. And number 6, I saw a follow-up to a story we did months ago. Remember Cooper DeJean, the awesome player for Iowa? Well, he's got a brother, Jax DeJean. He's narrowing it down to a couple of schools. Iowa is one of them. Did another visit. That's fantastic. Speaking of Iowa, I thought I'd throw this in from last week. Kirk Ferentz, as you know, got suspended for a game. Recruiting violation with Cade McNamara, tampering. I like how Kirk came out the next day. Boom, press conference. Yeah, it was a mistake. We messed up. I apologize. It won't happen again. That's it. Boom. That's how you get in front of it. That's how you do it. Good job, Kirk Ferentz. Urban Meyer on the Buckeyes, what we talked about earlier here on the podcast. Talking about they're loaded, but their schedule is weak. Urban had a couple of weak pre-conference games on his slate back in the day, if I do recall. Let's see what else we have here at number 3. Oh, Nick Saban was talking about Dan Lanning. And it was kind of half pouring some praise and support on Dan Lanning and Oregon and what they have done. But, yeah, beat Georgia first. Beat Georgia. Kind of stuck the landing on that comment, right? All right. You got to beat the best. I threw this in here. I read over the weekend at number 2, Ted Lasso. They're going to do a season 4. All you fans of Ted Lasso, I was on Apple TV, and they said they wrote the whole thing to be 3 years. They did 3 years, and they went off into the sunset with all the praise. People are talking. Contracts are coming together. Putting the cast back together with your favorite personalities. Season 4. They're going to start working on 2025, so maybe early to mid 2026. Season 4. Ted Lasso. Tell your friends. And at number 1, I just wanted to put out, we're all excited. College football is back. That was great this past weekend. Watching quote unquote future Big Ten team Florida State. I kid, sort of. Taking on Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech with the upset win. DJU, not that great of a day at quarterback. So anyway, college football's back, and then this weekend, the full slate, everybody at it. But these are my Big Ten top 10 observations from the weekend. Love to get your comments on them as well. Always love to hear from you. Many ways for you to reach out to this podcast, of course, on Twitter, X, at Talk Big Ten with the number 10. Your comments on YouTube going back and forth, that really kind of generates the engine for this. Always love hearing from you there. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. That's the number 10, talkbig10.com. All of our podcasts go there as soon as they're done, in order or group by school. We do both. So it's easy for you to find, very convenient. And while you're there, pick up some shirts and hats and T-shirts for your favorite football team. Get ready for the 2024 season, all right there, talkbig10.com. And no matter what you do, be sure to subscribe and share. Subscribe. We always appreciate that. And share it with a friend, and follow this podcast right now on your favorite podcast app, and you'll get the latest episode of Locked On Big Ten as soon as it becomes available each and every day. And don't forget our friends from Locked On at Locked On College Football, getting you ready for all things college football on and off the field. Locked On College Football, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Well, we're in it, folks. We're in it. We got a little taste with week 0. It's week 1. It's college. It's game week. All your favorite teams are ready to go. We're ready to go. We cover it all. All 18 Big Ten teams right here. Tell your friends about us. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman, and we'll talk to you next time as we get closer and closer to that season.